Day 2 of the 16th International Forum of the Convention of Independent Financial Advisors in Monaco. Ms. Afaf Kanja opening the day with remarks focused on achieving the right mindset when contemplating the disconcerting disruption impacting many sectors of the global economy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the trumpet call here is the undeniable growth and speed of which technology is growing. Basically, has the potential to either bring the world to equilibrium, sustainable development, or to destroy it. Accelerating technologies will bring major changes to banking, education, healthcare, housing, transport, automation, farming, the list goes on. It is the convergence of technologies, explains Executive Chairman of the X Prize Foundation, Peter Diamandis, that are coming together like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and blockchain technology that are being integrated to revolutionize industries, forging new business, and of course, as we've already heard, disrupting all sectors.
The forum's focus shifted on Day 2 to the destabilization of traditional political and economic models. The first forum examining how traditional entities, both in government and business, can adapt to disruptive trends.
The good news is that creative destruction is what generates more prosperity. Entrepreneurs, they innovate, they learn new ways of combining labor and capital, and that makes us all richer over time. But the great challenge that the speakers did a great job of addressing is, in the short run, that disruption has casualties. And we have to figure out what companies are losing, what workers are losing, what governments might be losing. So in the long run, we might all be better off. And matter of fact, I think we are going to be better off. But in the short run, there are some major challenges, and that's why this discussion was so helpful.
That's the challenge, because on the one hand, nothing much happens on a normal day, because the disruption is very slow in sort of having its impact. And so you tend to sort of say, I look at that tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes tomorrow, and so on and so on. And that's the danger with disruption, is that their effects are very slow in being seen. And so I guess on a day-to-day, what you want to do is really understand what's going on and try to see where it will lead you, because disruption is a process. So it's not just doing one thing one day, it's having a continuous look at the evolution of your industry. And sometimes this evolution is really difficult to grasp.
Uberization model will certainly create and destroy at the same time. In fact, they are creating a new model, they are creating a new experience, they are creating a new system, and especially a new social system. But in the same time, they are destroying traditional actors, traditional players, who can't, in fact, follow the innovation and the experience given by the new entrants, and who, in fact, definitely will certainly pay a lot and lose market shares, and so it's not a very global destroying model or not a very global creative model. It's both.
Professor William Black of the University of Missouri in the United States moderated the second panel of the day, with panelists looking specifically at the disruptive threats emerging in the global financial and monetary system.
There's a lot of disruption, and that disruption might prove extraordinarily creative, but it also might prove extraordinarily non-creative and harm. And the last time we did this, when we ran the movie, it was a horror movie, and it wiped out a substantial portion of the world's wealth.
The whole world is changing because of this digital technology, and the only response that a country could wisely make is to adapt to it, be prepared, that there are some new changes needed, not only in the system and infrastructure, but also in the mindset of the people who are part of the players, because there are many players are going to be involved, right? Even households, housewives, and these are not the things that was really known decades ago, but it's growing so fast.
I wouldn't say the economic model's under threat, actually, but we do have a lot of creative destruction in the system. We're getting a lot of new systems. And the financial system looks like it's moving from a hub and spoke system with very large institutions at the core that charge significant fees for peers to make transactions, to a direct peer-to-peer system. That system can be a lot more efficient and less costly, so people are moving to it.
For half of this forum's existence, Monaco has played the role of gracious host city. The Principality, of course, providing fertile ground for tech incubators, entrepreneurship, and a view of the future that's in alignment with the ideals of CIFA. Forum attendees had an opportunity to engage with executives from Monaco's Association for Financial Activities to see the latest strategy for the Principality.
Monaco is very attractive indeed because we have a strong input of His Highness Albert II. I mean, he's the first one to be the promoter of the Principality of Monaco. That second, we have an international university because we have more than 140 citizens of the world coming here to Monaco. And of course, they are deeply concerned about all the topics, academical, any kind of economic, strategic topic you may have, data protection, confidentiality, security. I mean, those are the topics, and this is the reason of the living of the Principality of Monaco.
The panels of the second half of the day return to the stark challenges facing the economic and political models of the day. Professor Stephanie Kelton of Stony Brook University in the United States and her panel examined the impact of automation and robotics, potentially destroying jobs, creating a threat to the current global economic system.
What becomes of someone who loses their job and then has no income? And the challenges that that poses to both the capitalist economic system, when the consumers start disappearing and there's nobody around to buy the goods and services, this becomes a problem. So we're beginning to think through the ways to address both the loss of income and the loss of work.
What we have seen in various studies is that particularly for the skilled workers, there will be an increasing demand because all these additional robots and information communication technology, this will increase the demand for skilled labor. So there can be a polarization among workers, and then the question for society is, can you provide for adequate training, retraining? How good is your education? And I think within the EU we see there are really differences across countries, and it would be good if the European Commission would put more pressure, also more encouragement on the legates that they should speed up their education and retraining system.
So if labor disappears, then we have all the tax which is attributable to this labor, which will disappear. So the government will not have enough money to finance the social security, will need money to pay for the unemployed people, and the consumption could go down because the workers would not have enough money.
The final panel of the forum was helmed by Stephen Young and examined the forces of resistance to technological and economic change. Panelists and forum attendees debating if democracy could be re-empowered, with a look at the trends of both populism and tribalism.
Populism is defined as appealing to the common person, and in that sense, it's either tautological or essentially democratic. It's only when it veers into xenophobia and racism and extremism that you have a problem. So we've got to be very careful about deriding populism, because in a way we're deriding democracy and the views of a large swath of the population that feels ignored and their issues not addressed. And frankly, that's a huge issue, because if you do ignore the population, truly extremist leaders can put their policies forward and possibly get political traction.
On the economic side, why haven't we been able to deliver more real income to middle and lower classes? And is it the result of, as one of our speakers said, of financialization? Too much goes to finance, which is money chasing money, and it's not going into jobs. IPOs for small companies are shrinking. What about wage stagnation? We've seen wage stagnation in real terms. Yes, costs have gone down for Americans, but in most American families now, average families, both the husband and the wife have to work just in order to get through. And if you're an older American, you remember your father's generation, just post-World War II, where your father was the sole breadwinner, and he was able to take care of a wife, 3 or 4 kids, had at least a car, maybe 2 cars, was able to get you an electronic guitar so you could be like Elvis Presley, but you haven't been able to do that. So that's also a decline in status and in economic terms.
As day 2 comes to a close, so too does the program portion of this forum. Attendees now looking forward to a day of networking and engagement in smaller groups. A reminder to our viewers, if you'd like to see our in-depth coverage of the entire forum, all videos and other content are on our website. So please log on to CIFANGO.org. That's CIFANGO.org. Reporting from the 16th International Forum of the Convention of Independent Financial Advisors in Monaco, I'm Mike Mazzacco.